Hello, everyone, and happy Saturn Day, aka Shani Day. I'm wearing blue. It looks a little green on camera, but I'm wearing blue and darker colors for Shani today. I'm also wearing my Shiva pendant, who is one of the deities that we can call on for help when we're going through a lot of our Saturn transits. Who is Saturn? So Saturn is our karmic teacher. he is the He's the planet responsible for showing us our past misdeeds and making sure that we pay for them. He does not allow us to sweep any of our transgressions under the rug. So I'm very thankful for him because what he does is he helps us basically pay off those karmic balances so that we can rise to those better levels of thinking and being and let go of some of the more material things that are holding back our ascension and our need for control. Because what Shani does, especially when he crosses over our moon, for example, he creates a lot of emotional disturbances, things like that, to test us and see, can she maintain serenity of mind when I do this or when I do that? And it's a Saturn day, and during his hora, which was an hour before this, he did a lot of stuff. So I'm like, that was interesting. So um, maintaining that equity of mind is important when he's going over one of your planets. And like I said, I'm going through Sati Sati right now. He's also really difficult when he's in your eighth house because he causes a lot of transformations, a lot of big things there. That's called Ashtam Mansa Shani. It means eight, and it's a difficult transit. Another one is when we goes over our ascendant, we have to pay back some of our karma there. And I'm actually reading a really great book on karma and disease, and I'm getting more chops in medical astrology from Dr. K.S. Shirok. And I've got a lot of his books, and he's got great courses and things like that. He's a surgeon in India, and he's also a Jyotish practitioner, so he's able to blend both of those together. And Karma and Disease by Swami Sivananda is another really great resource because it helps you understand like what diseases you have in this birth are reflected in the karma that you're paying off from past births. And it's fascinating. Like we've had various things happen. All of us have. None of us that goes through this life without ever getting sick. And so we kind of did a deep dive, my husband and I, the other day, and it's like, oh, I wonder what I did in this bird or that bird. It's actually really fascinating if you look at it from a more scientific perspective. But this is Lord Shani, according to Harshananda. Now, the one on my website, I think, is a little more him because I've seen a lot of Shani temples and I've seen his effigies, and he's got this brilliant like tarot stash, kind of like this. And I love Shani's mustache, and he doesn't have a mustache in this depiction, but he rides a crow. The crow is his vahana. And one of the best things that you can do today is actually feed the crows, wear dark coloring, make donations, do seva, which is selfless service for others. That's giving service without any expectation of reward. All of those things please Saturn. He also rules the disabled, so helping anybody with a disability or someone who's elderly is a great way to please Lord Shani because he loves responsible people. Okay, so those are just a few things you can do. Oh, I'll give you guys a really good mantra too. Om Shaniye Namaha. That's very simple. You can do that via a mala. And another really good one is Om Niranjana Samabhasam Ravi Putram Yamagrajam Jayamaratanda Sambhutam Tam Namami Shani Sharam. And just practicing that mantra today is a great way to please Lord Shani as well. So those are just a few things you can do. The Adi Devata, which helps us with our mind today, is Lord Brahma. That's the creator of the universe. Very simple mantra for Brahma is Om Brahmaye Namaha. Om Brahmaye Namaha. Om Brahmaye Namaha. And that's just acknowledging the Lord of creation and helping him with our karmas and things like that Shani puts us for. And Shani is brothers with Lord Yama. Yama is the god of death. That's why I've been reading a little bit more into this because the United States just had its Yama return. And so I'm kind of focusing on various periods in history where Yama and Shani were especially strong. Now, they're very strong in my chart. They're both in Libra and they're conjunct. So I've got Pluto and Saturn conjunct in my sixth house of service and karma yoga. And it's also it's exalted in Libra. So it's kind of like a justice warrior. I like to basically hand out how do I say this? I like to bring out the truth, speak for social justice, and point out hidden enemies. That's kind of what that does in my chart. If Saturn is ill placed in your chart, you might have a lot of karma that you need to pay off because there's some lessons that you need to learn. We're all here to learn lessons, so no judgment for me. But when I see like maybe Saturn in Aries, that tells me, okay, they've got some stuff that they're dealing with, and this would be a sidereal calculation. So he does well in some signs like Libra, Taurus, which are Venusian ruled signs, but he doesn't do so well in other signs like Mars ruled signs, especially Aries. It's not really happy there because Mars is a very impulsive warrior-like energy. Let's get this done. Let's go right now. And Saturn's kind of like the guy that's saying, hey, you kids, get out of my yard. So it's not a really good energy for them to be kind of collaborating on. But it does create an interesting way to pay off karma depending on how they're placed. So that's just a little bit about and I'll give you guys a mantra for Yama as well. This is just very simple. Om Yamaye Namaha. Very, very simple. And if you took my mantra class, you got a whole bunch of mantras for all of the deities. So I hope you guys are having fun practicing those and getting to kind of, feel the energy that they bring you in your practice. So I want to say hi to a few people coming in. The Boomer Mill is here. There's Jonathan. Say hi, Jonathan. He knows I've had a morning, guys. It's a Saturn day, and during Saturn Horror this morning, it was drama. Like, we're just both like, it's a test. I hope I passed part of it. The lovely Lauren is here. It's good to see you, Lauren. Hershey, Grand Rising, Michelle and Jonathan, everyone in the chat, sending blessings and positive vibes. Thank you, Hershey. I really appreciate you. Blossom is here. It's lovely to see you, Blossom. Welcome, welcome. And Sixes says, ChatGPT is AI generated. Sherry wants those. I wanted to see what yours looked like at the Boomer Mill. I'm not sure what you mean about that. I think maybe he's talking to Jonathan. Okay. Let's see. Everyone's saying good morning to each other. Oh, Saturn in Aquarius. What does that mean? Okay. So Saturn is currently in Sidereal Aquarius. The Sidereal calculation, if you want to know the difference, I did a video on it, and just go to my channel. It's just it goes into the difference between Western and Vedic. But he loves Aquarius. That is his sign. Okay. It's ruled by Uranus in the Western tradition, but in the Vedic tradition, it's Aquarius, and that's what he's going through right now. Aquarius represents innovation and tech, but it also represents the collective, humanitarian pursuits, our need to come together and collaborate. Aquarius is opposite Leo. Leo represents the king, oligarchy, the few people at the top with a lot of the resources. So when Saturn's going through Aquarius, he is literally shaking up the collective and trying to get our attention so that we can collaborate more, innovate more, and as a group come together in unity. Now he's going to move into Pisces at the end of the month, very end of the month, I believe the 29th. That's going to be a big shift because we also have a solar eclipse happening on that day. A lot of secrets are going to be revealed. So just prepare for that. The last time we kind of went through this type of astrological energy was 2008. Okay. All right. And everyone's saying good morning. Or she says, as a Taurus new moon, I'm loving the energy of my day. Oh, that's wonderful, sweetie. I love that. Okay. Oh, your response on the Bucko video. Oh, okay. Yeah, I saw the little ChatGPT thing there. I wasn't sure what that was, but yeah, I actually worked for the Tacoma Opera, so that was an interesting response. Thank you, Sixes. Aaliyah is here. It's lovely to see you, Leah. Thank you for joining us, dear. All right. Okay, so I'm going to go into what's going on in the sky real quick before I go into some of the things that the guys want me to show you, because we've got a lot going on in the collective. Now, the moon is in Uttara Bhadra today. What is that? That is Sidereal Pisces. And what it represents is the power to bring cosmic rain. These types of personalities they're very sophic in body and in mind, but they're tamasic in spirit. So there's not a lot of, I've noticed, discernment with some of the people with this placement. A lot of them also tend to be atheists, or they challenge a lot of spiritual understandings of things. And I have quite a few friends and family members that actually had this placement, and they were atheists. So they tend to question a lot of things, that they kind of lack that spiritual discernment. But when it comes to material discernment and mind discernment, they've got it in spades. But the other area seems to be a little lacking, but they do very well in other areas. They're a warrior star. They're about sacrifice, renunciation, seclusion, secrecy. They can be very empathetic, but they struggle to take action, especially when it comes to doing things that are absolutely necessary, emergency type things, I've noticed. The main thing to pay attention to under this moon is, what are the things that you're not seeing? Especially with the Rahu-Neptune conjunction in Pisces going on right now. Venus is there to help, which is good. But there are things that the collective is being fogged on, just based on the astrology. Okay, Mercury just joined the Rahu-Neptune conjunction today, so that's our intellect. The moon is there as well. That's our emotional state, our inner state. And then there's Venus. So we're getting ready for this big March 14th eclipse. The planets are coming together. Venus is going to go retrograde and join it. It's going to be an interesting one. And what can we do to kind of prepare ourselves for the things that we might not have been seeing or paying attention to or really minding? This is a very happy nakshatra. The people that I know with this nakshatra, they will sacrifice anything for their happiness, including the truth. Okay, this is not uncommon with Pisceans. They tend to want to live in a dream world, which is very beautiful. But when it comes to real life emergencies, when it comes to understanding the material consequences of their action or inaction, there seems to be a little bit lacking. So under this moon, we're all getting affected with, the Rahu energy, the Neptune energy, Mercury, moon, all together in kind of a stellium today, showing us, if you're feeling happy-go-lucky, I'm just telling you that it's the stellium that's causing it. Try to see things outside of what mind and emotional nest that you created for yourself. Try to step out of your nest a little bit and look around. That's the main thing that they're showing me, is there's a lot of fogging going on. There's a lot of people who really want to be positive, and that's great, but you want it to come from a place of strength and reality, because conjunctions like this, they can lead to what I call toxic positivity. They can lead to apathy, just depending on the personality. So it's like, oh, well, I can't do anything about it, so who cares? That's apathy. Toxic positivity is, everything is wonderful. I love my life. Everything is beautiful. And there's chaos going on, and you're not doing anything about it or taking responsibility for yourself or for the people around you. That's more toxic positivity. So make sure that you're not attracting that and you're not putting that out, because stelliums like that, this cause it. Okay. I didn't realize that all of these planets were here today until I also realized that Venus was going retrograde. So this is going to be a really interesting one. The sun is about to go conjunct Saturn in a couple of days, so that's going to cause a little battle of the egos versus the collective. They're going to both be in Aquarius, so that'll be an interesting. That'll be interesting to see how that works out. And then the sun will move into Pisces, and that's what's going to bring about eclipse season. So that'll be at the very beginning of Pisces. So yeah, we've got Jupiter in Taurus. So if you have any planets in Taurus, you're feeling good. That's for you, Hershey. Mars is now direct. That's in the 7th house of the United States. That's causing a lot of fogging in the collective as far as our relationships and allies abroad. If you guys saw or have been paying attention a little bit to the news, the United States made a major shift yesterday in the way that we handle our foreign relations. So again, I mentioned that fogging. Make sure that you're paying attention to the cycles and that you're not falling into, like, again, this apathy or this everything's going to be fine, when there are things that you can do in your environment to make positive changes from a place of strength. I'm not saying don't be positive. I think that's a beautiful thing to be, but come from a place of reality. Okay. All right. So let me talk a little bit about, this is the what becomes the soul after death. We're going to talk about Varuna Loka today. This one's really cool. It's compared to like Atlantis. So Varuna is the god of the oceans. He's Neptune in the Greco-Roman, or Poseidon in the Greco-Roman philosophies, and he represents Apas. Apas means water in Sanskrit. So he's waterways and all things related to water. And let's see, I'm looking at your questions. YT Social is here. It is lovely to see you. Thank you for reminding people to hit the like, Leah. I appreciate that. And then that's making me rethink and be curious about what we're not seeing. Yeah, a lot of those things are going to be revealed after the eclipse, but if you really tap in and you come from a place of calm receptivity, you can see it. Okay? But you got to stick with that spiritual practice and concentrate the mind, because this is a difficult stellium. It really is. So it's affecting a lot of us. So Leah says, I'm a practical, assertive Pisces thanks to Virgo moon. Oh, that's good. That balances you out. Saturn in Aries and Mars in Aries. Oh, that's difficult with Saturn and Mars there. What house would that be? Oh, I don't know your ascendant. Okay. That Saturn Mars conjunctions can be difficult. So I'm curious to see how you're navigating that. That's interesting. Never will I be a victim, I'll always be a student. That's beautiful. I love that. Like Mars is giving you the bravery and Saturn is giving you that ability to introspect and study and take things a little slower, which is good. That sounds like it. What should we do instead? Okay. So there are things that you can do, and I'm going to share a few things that you guys can do. Let me get into that a little later. You actually beat me to the question, okay, Blossom? And then, yes, Leah, we're going to talk about Neptune and Varuna. Let's just do that real quick. Okay, Blossom. Okay. Oh, look at all that. Lots of all the elementals. Thank you, Leah. That's awesome. Okay. Okay, so Varuna Loka. The celestial Sabha of Varuna, that's his house, is matchless. Its dimension is exactly like that of Yama. It is adorned with white walls and arches. It is built by Visvakarma under the waters, and it's surrounded on all sides by celestial trees made of gems and jewels, producing excellent fruit and flowers. Wow. Many plants with blue, yellow, black, white, and red blossoms have formed themselves into excellent bowers, kind of like wisteria. Hundreds and thousands of beautiful and variegated birds of various species pour forth and their melodies within them. I'm like, underwater birds, interesting, okay. That Sabha is very delightful. It is neither cold nor hot. It is ruled by Varuna and consists of many rooms furnished with charming seats. Here sits Varuna with his queen, Varuni, adorned with celestial ornaments and jewels, adorned with celestial garlands, perfumed with celestial scents, and besmeared with paste of celestial fragrance. The Adityas, those are the solar deities, wait there upon the Lord of Waters, Varuna. Vasuki, that's the little snake around Shiva's neck, Tashaka, and Yana Majaya, those are all snakes, are all having auspicious marks and mandalas and broad hoods, and they wait upon Varuna without any anxiety. So some of the snake deities are there too. The son of Virochana, Vali, Sangroda, those Danavas called Kalakpanja, Suhanu, Pitara, Dasagriva, all adorned with earrings, floral garlands, and crowns, attired in celestial robes and blessed with boons and possessed of great bravery and immortality, all well conducted and of excellent vows wait upon Varuna, the wielder of the noose as his weapon. There wait upon him the four oceans and the rivers, Bhagirathi, Kalindi, Vidisa, Venva, the rapid Narmada, Chandrabhaga, Sarasvati, Iravati, Sindhu, Godavari, the Krishna, Kaveri, the great Son, Sarayu, the red Mahanadi, Gomati, etc., All other rivers sacred to the turfas, lakes, wells, springs, tanks, large and small, all their personified forms, the points of heaven, the earth, all the mountains, every species of aquatic animal, wait upon the illustrious Varuna. The Gandharvas, the Apsaras, the Gandharvas are the celestial musicians, the Apsaras are the fairies. They're experts in vocal and instrumental music, and they wait upon Varuna singing their eugelistic songs. All the charming mountains that are rich in jewels are present there, engaged in sweet conversation. Varuna's minister, named Sunava, is surrounded by his sons and grandsons, and they wait upon him along the Pushkara Tirtha called Go. All of these personified forms worship Varuna. Now, I read this and it reminded me of, there's this Japanese film called Spirited Away, and it's about a little girl who goes into the netherworld, which is life after death, and she meets all of these various spirits. Now, her parents get stuck in the food realm and they become pigs because that's all they cared about in heaven and on earth. So you go where your soul takes you. Now, she continued and she went up into these spirit realms, and she was visited by river gods and mountain gods and all of these beautiful, like, spirits from Japanese folklore. And I love that movie too, Leah. It's so good. And there's this one scene where this beautiful river spirit comes, and he's just like, blah, 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 and he's just covered in mud. And she brings him into this bathhouse, and she starts to wash the mud away from him. She's just getting garbage out and filth and sewage. And he finally is cleansed, and he turns into this beautiful, he turns back into his original form, and he thanks her. And she had managed to basically bring him back to life. And the river god basically gave her a boon. And it makes me wonder what these guys look like in Varuna land with all the pollution going around. Because if you look at the Ganges right now, guys, it's not good. If you've been to Mumbai, if you've been to India, most of the rivers I just named are not doing well. So you guys asked, Blossom asked, what can we do? What can we do to right things? Okay, the best thing that you can do is sit in your spiritual practice and come from a place of love and empathy and understanding and community and service and love. That's the best thing you can do. What does that look like on the outside? Now, I bring this up. This is living in reality. Okay, we're kind of seeing this all in the news already. I mentioned this back in late spring and summer of last year. It's why my husband and I moved to Mexico. Project 2025 is coming. It's been something that's been in the books since the Reagan administration, and they're really enacting it hard right now. If you want to know more about it, my husband and I made a video on the boomer mill. Okay, he's in the chat right now on just the various things that we can expect. So I did a little bit of a deep dive into how this is going to affect Apas, water, or Varuna. And these are things that we can try to fight for and help as a collective for the environment. So this is coming from a place of strong, grounded positivity. It's like we see this is going on and there's something that we can do about it as a community. Okay, so now, Project 2025 was developed by the Heritage Foundation and other conservative organizations, and it's going to severely impact our environment in not a great way, okay? The effects on waterways, clean water, and environmental procedures. And just to let you guys know where I got my information from, I got that from, let's see, Time, The Guardian, and AP News. Now, these score really, really high as far as factual reporting, but they do lean slightly left. So I'm just letting you know like where I'm getting my news from, okay? So they're going to bring forth the deregulation of our environmental protections. This is going to reduce all federal oversight, rolling back regulations to protect our waterways. It's going to increase the pollution in our rivers, our lakes, our groundwater sources, and it's going to compromise our drinking water and harm our aquatic ecosystems. Another thing that they're already rolling out is they're weakening the Environmental Protection Agency, that's known as the EPA. You've already probably seen some of the news here. That's going to restructure the EPA's authority and hinder its ability to enforce laws that protect the environment, such as the Clean Water Act. That's going to result in less or no enforcement of water quality standards in the United States, which we rely on for our clean drinking water. There is a huge promotion for fossil fuel development, like oil, gas, coal. There could be an increase in drilling. Drill, baby, drill. What does that mean? That poses severe risk to our water sources because it causes a lot of contamination and increased water usage. If you look up what's going on in West Virginia, cancers and things like that that are coming out of the community, that's an area where the coal industry was just allowed to run amok. They want to make that national. Another thing is they're going to eliminate climate change initiatives. Any program aimed at climate change, that they basically serve to address any climate-related issues like droughts, floods, anything that can cause problems to our infrastructure and stability in our cities. You know, water tables going up and things like that are going to be taken away. There's going to be a reduced focus on environmental justice. So they're scaling back all programs addressing those disparities. And they're really going after marginalized communities, so poorer neighborhoods. So they're not going to have access to clean water, and there's going to be an increased exposure to pollutants. You can look at Detroit and various places in Michigan that have been dealing with this for about 15 years now. There's a bunch of YouTube videos on that as well, and a lot of YouTubers have gone out there and covered it, as well as news agencies. So there's going to be challenges to our clean water protections. There's proposals to aim to make it easier for corporations to just discharge pollutants and not care about where they're going. And that's going to lead to much higher levels of toxins in our water supply. So that's coming from reality. What can we do about that? Okay, what can we do to protect our lakes, protect our rivers? Well, one thing that we can do is we can organize coalitions, get together. Like, for instance, out here, I noticed that there's one thing about Mexican culture that I struggle with, and there is a large number of people here that will just, after they eat something, throw their garbage on the ground. And it drives me nuts, because it's like you finish a candy bar or something and you just drop your plastic or your fast food or something on the ground because you expect the street cleaners to come and get it or someone else to take care of it, which doesn't always happen. In the morning, I'll like get a bag and I'll just like clean up the area around this space, especially because we have some fast food restaurants nearby. And what people do is they just throw their garbage out on the street. It drives me nuts. So I go out and I pick it up. I also noticed that some of the buses and tour people that were coming through were dumping their sewage into one of the waterways over by the ocean. And it was causing, animals to die. People were also dumping toxic chemicals and stuff behind the hotels. And so what I did was I wrote a letter to the head of the Department of Environmental Resources here. I went to ChatGPT and I said, please put this in Mexican Spanish. And I'm trying to work with authorities to stop the mass pollution that I see going on. So if we come together as a community and we make these things known and we say this is not acceptable, and if we don't have those organizations in the future, then we need to start our own, our own coalitions. There's a lot of people here in the Versailles zone that do get together and do a lot of activities around this. There are things like a garden club where they go out and they plant flowers and they water them because there's not a citywide landscaping, facility or management here. The libraries are all basically supplied by the public, things like that. So this is a very integrative community-based town. They do not rely on the government to provide a lot of these resources. Instead, people get together and they make the change. There was a massive flood here in Puerto Vallarta a couple of years ago, and all of the people got together. They got their trucks. People came out with their taco trucks and were feeding all the workers. People got their shovels, and they started cleaning up without any government intervention. They just got together and they started making a change. So this is bringing us back to community. If they get rid of all of our government regulations, if they get rid of the things that are protecting us, we need to come together as a community and fight back as a whole to prevent them from putting sewage in the waterways, to prevent them from drilling, to prevent them from dumping their trash wherever they want. There needs to be a pushback. There are more of us than them. There are millions and millions more of us than them. So if you want to come from a place of positive power, develop a coalition within your community. I know it's difficult after COVID because that was their way of trying to separate all of us. But if we can get out of our hidey holes and join and work with others and try to enact the changes that should be happening but aren't because the corporations are not being held accountable, that is a positive step that you can make forward. Okay, now I've got Saturn in Libra conjunct Pluto, so I'm kind of like a freedom warrior already, and then I got a moon in Aquarius. So I naturally think like this. Not everybody naturally thinks like this, so you're going to have to give them the space to kind of integrate this into their wheelhouse, especially if they're used to being isolated or in areas where there's a lot of governmental services that are about to be taken away. Okay. So know that anything that you do for the waterways, anything that you do for the aquatic life, anything that you do for your own community will be richly rewarded later, especially by Varuna, because that's his land. That's his heart. That's where he lives. And I can't imagine what the deities look like right now because they have not been treated very well. So that's one thing that you can do. And then Leo says, oh, the white walls and trees with gems sounds like the Akashic Halls. It's probably very similar. Yeah, I love that. And then Leah says, I'm going to the lake of Hinduism to dip my toe and ask for permission to enter its truths. That is beautiful. I love that. Okay. So, and let's see. Yes, it's happening in Pisces, the one on the 14th. Yeah. And then we have another solar eclipse on the 29th, and that's sidereal. That's the math in the sky. Okay. And you have a water trine too. I love that. That's beautiful. Yeah, I've got Sun and Mercury in Cancer. And then I have my South Node in Jupiter in Scorpio. And then in Pisces, I'm right on the Pisces Aquarian cusp, but then I move into, in my Navamsha, I have Ketu Mercury there. So yeah, I love that. That's beautiful. Yes, we love Varuna, and Varuna's in charge of my career house. So I like to be in and around waterways. That tends to bring me more luck. So those are just a few things that you can do. If you see any kind of injustice going on, and there's something you can do about it, do it. If you can't, get some people around you that can help you. Okay, but this is not the time to hide under the covers and to pretend that everything is okay and rainbows and sunshine. This is the time to act. It's the time to plan. If you are not the type of person that is in an environment where you can do that, like for instance, my husband and I were living in a very corporate-based center. We were in Microsoft territory. People were in and out every 3 to 6 months. Not everybody, spoke the same language. There wasn't a big sense of community where we lived. So we tried to move to a place where we could find community, and we're finding that here. And we find that there's a lot more that we can do here to make change. So if you need to move, that's another thing that you can consider as well. Okay. So I did get into the astrology, and I got the 3 of Cups. How great is this for collaboration? Get together with like-minded people that share your goals, your beliefs, and your dreams and visions for a better world despite what's going on, because this is your tribe. These are the people that you can get together with and really make change. Okay, this is my, I need to paint my house, so I'm going to get a few boxes of pizza and some wine and invite all my friends over. We're going to have fun card. Okay, so these are the people that are willing to help you out, help you move, help you do those hard things, but they make it fun. Okay, so make sure you're having fun as you do some of these things, because being overly serious, that just adds to, in my opinion, it just adds to the problem. You're already doing serious work. Have fun while you're doing it. Okay. Be on guard for the things that you see going on in your community. Okay. We're being asked to set boundaries, and be careful who you let into your group too, because it's important that you aren't attracting people that are there to disrupt or to cause more problems than the one that you're trying to remedy. Okay. And be aware of what's going on in the news to a point. Don't let it just overwhelm you, but try to come at it from a very analytical perspective. Okay, that's what I do. Walk away from what no longer serves you. If you're living in a community where you do not have that support, like Jonathan and I didn't really have a lot of support in our community, try to move to one that does, okay? One that works for you. Also, walk away from anything that is not emotionally helping you grow, thrive, or live in reality. This could be apathy. That's not a good thing to have. Like, oh, well, there's nothing I can do, so screw it. You don't want to come from that place. That toxic positivity, which is everything's wonderful. No, it's not. Let's try to live in reality. Or from a place of hatred, which we're seeing a lot in the collective. Walk away from all those things and from people that are exhibiting those things, because these are unhealthy behaviors. Okay. Then I got the Three of Pentacles. This is all about teamwork, working together, actually putting those beautiful plans with that Three of Cups energy into action. So first, find the people that share your goals, that celebrate who you are and what you'd like to see, and then get to work, okay? Because when we get to work in communities, which I think we need to get back to anyway, here's an example. Allie did a really great post on don't buy anything from corporations, buy local if you have to, okay? Here, everything's local. I mean, we can still go to Costco and stuff, but when we go for a walk, I get our ingredients for dinner. I go to the fruteria and I get like the vegetables and the cilantro and everything we need there. And she also has like beans and things like that. And then across the street is the tortilleria, and it's a woman who has a tortilla maker machine, and she does chips and she does tortillas, and we get them fresh every day from her and her family. And she's got this cute little chihuahua that loves Rosie. So every place we walk to, it's family owned. It's coming from a farm that a family owns. It's all organic and GMO, and it's all being run by people. If you want dessert, there's guys literally with trays on top of their heads with all of these cakes and cookies and stuff, and you can buy it from them right there on the street, and they're delicious. If you want some music, there's a mariachi guy outside with his kids playing. You can ask for a song, give them a few pesos, and there's your entertainment. It's all local. It's fabulous. I wish we had more of this in the United States, and how cool would it be if we got back to that? So that's a positive way of making change, okay? Because this is coming, okay? They are going to take as much as they possibly can out of the collective. These are the corporations. These are the oligarchs. These are the guys that are all getting together, pooling their resources, and they're going to try to make us the cogs in their wheel. You can fight against this by forming your own community coalitions and demanding that they can't do this to you, your neighborhoods, your children, your future. There are more of us than there are of them. Okay, so keep that in mind. Now, I am not recommending violence of any kind. Okay, that's not the way out. The way out is to work with and collaborate with our communities to create that positive change. Okay, so, and then let's see. And then YT says, oh, you live in a managed living space built by US government or Microsoft. Yeah, they're coming out a lot with that. Actually, in our area, we noticed a lot of single family homes were being knocked down during COVID. And these giant little boxes, like these like 400 square foot apartments were going up by the thousands. I mean, just thousands and thousands and thousands of units. And the people that were moving into them were Russian, they were Chinese, they were basically BRICS countries. And we looked at each other and we went, what is going on? Why are all of these single family homes going and all of the population being basically scattered and all of these new people moving in? That's because during the Trump administration, there was a massive push for what we're seeing now. This has been going on for years, guys. There is a displacement that has been going on for a while, okay? And these were not tech workers, because my husband and I work in tech. We know what tech workers look like. When we lived there and we spoke to tech workers and we worked with tech workers, they were in tech. The people that were moving in during COVID were not tech workers. They were like families from farms that did not speak English, and there was no way that they could pay $5,000 a month for these apartments. And we couldn't get an apartment in there, oddly enough. You need to have some kind of voucher when you get off the airplane. It was very weird for us to see this. And we brought it to people's attention. And again, we're very democratic. I'm just going to start there. But if you brought it up with your liberal friends, they were like, well, wait a minute, are you being racist? And it's like, no, I actually work with and love people from all races and creeds, but there's just some weird stuff going on. So the identity politics, in my opinion, that the Democrats were really facing got in the way of some of the objectives that the corporations were pushing on us, like the H-1B program. It has been grossly, grossly violated for the last 20, 30 years. I mean, I would say 10 to 20 years to be more exact. So, and we know this because we live in that territory. We see it. There are workers there that are getting paid far, far less than their American counterparts, and they just keep pushing the American counterparts and the people that are here legally and not on the H-1B program out, and they're hiring 2 to 3 workers per one American worker to save money, and they're just doing this hand over fist to save money. That's what the corporations are doing. So NYT Social says that's very important message to form up communities. Yeah. So, oh, I'm happy you're here too, Jeff. Thank you for joining us, dear. And then, yeah, if you look up BRICS, that is the coalition that's behind a lot of this. And if you are paying attention to the news, NATO is not doing too great. Okay, it looks like that Trump's not going to really support that, and that we're headed into maybe forming some alliances with these countries. So look at to see what they're doing, how they organize their populace. Now, before I go, I am going to get a little more material, okay, with my explanation today. There's a book called Blood, Tears, and Folly, and it's an objective look at World War II, and it's written by Len Dayton. Now, it's a big one, but there are a couple of lines I just want to share before I go, okay? Now, this is what happened in Mussolini's Italy, okay? Now, this is the start of fascism. So if this is happening in your community, take note, look around, and pay attention, okay? So black-shirted fascists were chanting, believe, obey, and fight to their leader. Death, violence, and will were among the favored words as they discovered that the prospect of miracles was easier to sell to the electorate. And this was also backed by the Roman Catholic Church. So they were using faith in Jesus and their religion to get in. And just to let you guys know, I braved the chat in one of these Trump meetings that he posted on YouTube. And everybody in the chat was like, God praise our president. This is so beautifully transparent. He is speaking from the mouth of Jesus Christ. God bless our president of the United States. He started with a prayer. He's bringing Jesus to the White House. God bless you, sir. God bless you, sir. While he was passing a bill that was going to rid them of everything that they'd worked for, they were praising him in the name of Jesus because he prayed at the beginning of this. While all of the Republicans were getting together to stop a lot of the programs that are protecting us in place, they all joined their hands. Lord Jesus, we love you, God. And everyone in this audience was going nuts. Praise be, praise be. And I'm going, they're taking away all your rights, but they're doing it through the guise of religion. So that happened in Mussolini. This is right out of the fascist playbook, guys. Okay. So then the opponents were imprisoned or they had to flee abroad. Okay. The newspapers and radio stations were strictly controlled by the oligarchs, by these guys in charge, the fascists. The local government was made part of a new movement. So they got hold of the local governments. That's the one thing that we can still get a hold on if we are strong in our communities. Our mayor was suddenly wearing a smart uniform and giving fascist salutes. Our Italian friends said that when we went to the next village, our mayor was also in uniform. So if you start seeing uniforms, if you start seeing God getting mentioned everywhere, if you start seeing excuses made for some of the things that are going on that are really hurting people in our communities, just be aware that that is fascism. Okay. All right. And then I also found a quote in here because I really love studying Pearl Harbor. I actually lived right across the street from Pearl Harbor for almost 5 years on a military base. And so Hickam. And so it's a war that fascinates me, and my grandpa Net was in it. So, and he has the ship that they sank tattooed on his chest, and he gave us the most amazing recounts of what happened to him there. But there was the Secretary of the Navy, actually, this was the quote that he gave. The full disclosure of losses, that was of Pearl Harbor, made by the Secretary of the Navy has a wholly steadying effect. Americans are no more afraid of the truth than the Brits. It is only tyrants who must keep their people in the dark. Okay? Do not allow them to keep you in the dark. See reality. This stellium that we're going through right now is fogging a lot of people. I saw it in the chats. They think that this guy is like the second coming of Christ. It is disturbing, okay? He's not God. I went into Nebuchadnezzar and his rule. I made a little video about it and what happened to him. That's what we can expect to happen if we elect officials like this, okay? So I hope that was helpful. Thank you for staying with me. It's kind of a lot of energy that we're having to deal with right now, but know that if we sit in reality, if we help each other, and if we don't just put the covers over our head and wait for 4 more years, there's not going to be another election. We have to actually do something that we can to make this move forward. Unfortunately, if we can't form those coalitions, if people continue to remain fogged, we could be on the wrong side of a world war. And it's going to be more economic than it is bloodshed, but it is going to be, it's not going to be great. So we want to make sure that we're well represented and our values are represented and that we can stand up for those values. Okay. So I'm going to be here tomorrow on Sunday. Thank you for letting me share. It's always a pleasure to have you guys in the chat. And I'm sending you all tons of love as we move through this energy. So take care, everyone, and love you.
Sacred knowledge from the stars. Vedic truth heals ancient scars. Mantras clear the karmic way, bringing light to guide each day. Let the planets show their signs as the cards and stars combine. Ancient wisdom flows through